Okay, today we start the new chapter, direct and bending stresses. Direct and bending stresses. Now this chapter is for 10 marks. Direct and bending stresses. Now the chapter is for 10 marks. Now this chapter is very easy. So some machine parts are subjected to both direct load as well as eccentric load. So due to these two types of load, direct stresses as well as bending stresses are developed. So what is the combined effect of these direct and bending stresses that we see now today? Now first we understand some basic concept, that is direct load. It is also called as axial load. Next we see what is eccentric load. Then we see what is eccentricity. Now we go one by one. Now first we see what is direct load. Now what is meant by direct load? Now when the load whose line of action coincide with the axis of the member, or we can say that when the member passes through the centroid of the member, then this force is called as a direct load or axial load. So what I am saying, when the load whose line of action coincides with the axis of a member is called as a axial load or direct load. Now you can see here this force is passing through the centroid. So this load is called as a direct load or axial load. Now due to this direct load or axial load, direct stresses are developed. Now here we can see, we draw a plan or elevation. Now I draw So I draw a rectangular cross section. The load is acting along the axis. Now here elevation. Now here on the top view. So this is your width. This one is your depth. Now the load is acting at the centroid. So when the load passes through the centroid, then it is called as a direct load or axial load. Now when load, due to this load, it causes a direct stress. It causes a direct stress of a compressive nature and whose intensity is uniform throughout the cross section. So here, the intensity of compressive is uniform throughout the lecture. This direct stress is equal to P by A, where P means the applied force and A means the cross-sectional area. Here we can say this cross-sectional area is P upon B into B. So the compressive nature. So this is the stress distribution diagram. So what we say, direct load or axial load means a load whose line of action coincides with the axis of a member, or the line of action of a force passes through the centroid. Then this force is called as a direct load. Due to direct load, direct stresses are developed, which is calculated as sigma direct equal to P by A. A means cross-sectional area. This area is calculated as B into B. Now the nature of this stress is uniform throughout the cross-section. So the nature is a rectangular in cross-section and it is a fully compressive. Now next is what is eccentric load. Now what is meant by eccentric load? Now when the load passes through the centroid, it is called as a direct load. And the load not passing, it passes in Okay. So the eccentric load means the load which is not passing through the centroid. So I hope you understand what is direct load. Direct load means the load is passing through the centroid, or the line of action of the force which coincide with the axis of a member. That load is called as a direct load or axial load. Now due to direct load, direct stresses are induced, and direct stresses is calculated as direct stress equal to load upon cross-sectional area. And the nature is uniform throughout. Now we go for eccentric load. Now what do you mean by eccentric load? Now eccentric load means when the line of action does not passes through the axis. It passes away from the axis of a member. Then this load is called as the eccentric load. Now see here, I showed the axis of a member. Now instead of this axis, now the load is acting anywhere away from the axis. Now I draw the plan. So this is your B, that is width. This one is your depth. So this is your centroid. Now see here, this load is acting where? Away from this centroid. So this load is called as a eccentric load. So what is the definition of eccentric load? The load whose line of action does not coincide with the axis of a member, then this load is called as a eccentric load. Now the distance between this geometrical axis and the point of loading, this distance is called as a limit of eccentricity, or we can simply say eccentricity. Limit of eccentricity. It is denoted by the small letter E. So when the line of action does not coincide with the axis of a member, or simply when the load not passing to the centroid, then that load is called as the eccentric load. And the distance between the geometrical axis and the point of loading is called as a eccentricity, denoted by the letter small e. Now this, due to this eccentric load, now see here, due to eccentric load, both the type of stresses are developed. Which are the both stresses? One is the direct stress and another is the bending stress. So both type of stresses are developed due to eccentric force. What we have said first, for direct load, the load which passes through the axis, that load is called as a direct load. Now due to direct load, only direct stresses are developed. And how to calculate it? Direct stress is equal to load upon cross-sectional area. But what is eccentric load? Eccentric load means the load which line of action does not coincide with the axis of a member. Or we can say the load which is acting away from the axis, then that load is called as a eccentric load. Now the distance between the geometrical axis and the point of loading, that distance is called as a limit of eccentricity or simply eccentricity. Now due to this eccentric load, both type of stresses are developed. Which both stresses? Bending stresses as well as direct stresses. Now how to both type of stresses are developed, that we see. And if it asks for 2 marks, the question is define direct load, define eccentric load, define eccentricity. So these are the simple 2 marks questions asked on this. Now we make one sentence here that due to eccentric load, both type of stresses are developed. Now how? That we see now. Now let us consider one column. Okay. Now on this column, when eccentric force is active. Okay. What we will say? It is nothing but eccentric load. If I draw the diagram, this is the centroid, this is the point of load. Okay. So here your load is active. Now we are saying that due to eccentric load, both type of stresses are developed. Now how? That we'll see now. This distance is nothing but E. Now what do? We introduce 2 more forces. आपण 2 force अजून घेऊ. Okay. Now we introduce 2 more forces. See here. I introduced 2 equal opposite collinear forces so that the resultant of these 2 forces 0 and the meaning of this force system remain same. So now here 3 forces are there. We introduce 2 forces which is equal, opposite and collinear to each other. So the resultant of these 2 forces is 0. So simply there is a single force. But now here we are seeing that there are 3 forces. Now we split these 3 forces in such a way that, now see here, in next diagram, I split the forces. Now here I take only one force, which is the axial force. Here we consider only one force. That is, this is the axial force. इथं आपण एकच force consider करू. Axial force or direct force. Now, due to this direct force, two stresses induce direct stresses. And what is the nature of that? That nature is uniform throughout. It is a compressive in nature, and the diagram is a rectangular in shape. So sigma direct is equal to P by A. So here we use only one force. Now, how many forces are remaining? Now, two forces are remaining. Now, let us take the another figure. Okay. Now two forces are remaining. Which force? This one is the eccentric force and this one is upward. Now see here. Actually, there is only one force, that is eccentric force. But what we do here, we introduce two equal opposite collinear forces, so that the meaning of this system remains same. Now we split these three forces in such a way that here we consider a single force. Now it is an axial force. Due to axial force, direct stress or axial stress is induced. Now we have remaining two forces. Now observe these two forces. Now these two forces, which is equal, opposite, parallel, and non-collinear. So we have studied this already in our mechanics. So what is this? When there are two forces which are equal in magnitude, opposite in direction, parallel to each other, and non-collinear, then these two forces couple. Have you remembered? These two forces आठवत असेल तर बघा. दोन फोर्स असतील आणि ते इक्वल असतील, अपोजिट असतील, पॅरलल असतील आणि नॉन कोलिनियर. सो दीज टू फोर्सेस फॉर्म अ कपल. सो आपण ह्यांची मोमेंट काढत होतो. ते इज नथिंग बट द आर्म ऑफ अ कपल. So here, these two forces form a couple so that it moves in a clockwise. So now I here draw a top view. See here. This is your centroid. Now the position of the point is loading is here. The distance is E. So it produces a clockwise movement. It produces a clockwise movement. How to calculate this movement? This movement is nothing but P into E. Force into perpendicular distance. So this couple produces a clockwise movement. Now due to this movement, which stresses are induced due to bending moment? We have seen in last chapter only that due to bending moment, bending stresses are developed. Now how to calculate the bending stresses? Bending stress equation आठवते का कुणाला? M upon I equal to sigma upon Y. This is nothing but your flexural or okay. So we are taking the how due to eccentric load, how the direct and bending both stresses are developed. Now see here we consider one eccentric force. Now eccentric force means the force which line of action does not coincide with the axis of a member. Now here we show the eccentric force. Now here what we do, we introduce two more forces. Here we introduce two more forces which is equal, opposite and collinear to each other. So the resultant of these two forces is 0. So the meaning remains same. Now we have three forces. Now we split these three forces in such a way that here we consider a single force, axial force. Now due to this axial force, axial stress or direct stress are developed. That direct stress is load upon cross-sectional area where A means B into D. If this width is B and depth is D, then the cross-sectional area is P upon B into D. Now remaining two forces. Now here I show these two forces. Now these two forces are equal, opposite, non-collinear and parallel. So these two forces form a couple. Now this couple produces a moment of a clockwise moment or having intensity P into E. Now due to this bending moment, bending stresses are developed. Now how to calculate bending stress? Bending stress equation is M upon I equal to sigma upon Y. So we take sigma on one side, sigma B is nothing but bending stress. So M upon I into Y. You can keep as it is. असं नसेल ठेवायचं. Then we take this Y here in denominator. So I upon Y is nothing but Z. That is modulus of section. So bending stress equal to M upon Z. So what we here we make a conclusion that due to eccentric force, both type of stresses are developed. Which stresses? Direct stresses as well as bending stresses. Now these two stresses, they are normal or perpendicular in nature. So how to calculate the resultant stress? The resultant stress is calculated as result plus or minus sigma bending. Resultant stresses. Why? Because they are normal to each other, normal to the cross section. So sigma direct plus sigma bending is nothing but the maximum stress rate. So what we say here? Sigma max is equal to sigma direct plus sigma bending. And if we have to calculate the minimum stresses, then sigma minimum is equal to sigma direct minus sigma bending. So these are the resultant stresses. Now we see the next part, that now see here. How to draw the stress distribution diagram. मग आपली डायग्राम काढणार कशी? Direct stress कशी असते uniform, so that we can show rectangular in section. But what about the combined effect of these two stresses? How to draw the stress distribution diagram? Now see here, I draw one cross section of the beam. Now this one is your width. This one is your depth of the beam. Now see here. Okay, this one is your x axis, this one is your y axis. Now these two are called as the principal axis, x and y axis, which are passing through the centroid. Then these two axes are called as the principal axis. Now the load is eccentric, maybe to eccentric to x axis, maybe eccentric to y axis, or maybe eccentric to both axes. Means suppose I tell the position of the load here. मी जर इथे load दाखवला, then the distance between the geometrical axis and the point of loading is nothing but E. आता इथे पहा. It is eccentric with y-axis. It is eccentric with y-axis. So the bending takes place about y-axis. So here, y-axis we consider as a neutral axis. When the load is eccentric with y-axis, then bending of a member will occur about y-axis. So in such cases, y-axis we consider as a neutral axis. And here, moment of inertia we calculate about y-axis, that is I. So what is the formula for I? dB cubed by 12. I repeat again, please understand this is a very important concept. म्हणजे काय? जेव्हा लोड हा ऍक्सिस वर ऍक्ट होतो, इट इज इसेंट्रिक विथ वाय ऍक्सिस. म्हणजे तो या बाजूला असेल किंवा इट मे बी ऍक्टिंग ऑन द लेफ्ट साइड. सो दिस डिस्टन्स इज नथिंग बट ऑल्सो इसेंट्रिसिटी. म्हणजे तो या इट इज इसेंट्रिक विथ वाय ऍक्सिस. म्हणजे वाय ऍक्सिस पासून इकडे आपण डिस्टन्स दाखवले. तर या केस मध्ये काय होतं, बेंडिंग जे होतं कॉलमचं, इट इज टेक्स प्लेस थ्रू अबाउट वाय ऍक्सिस. सो हियर वी कन्सिडर वाय ऍक्सिस as a neutral axis. आपण इथं जो कन्सिडर करणार आहे न्यूट्रल ऍक्सिस, तो कुणाला कन्सिडर करणार आहे वाय ऍक्सिसला. What is our bending stress equation? Just we have seen m upon I into y. आता हा m is nothing but what? M is p into e. Okay. Now what about I? आता I कुठला घेणार आपण? I axis घेणार की I घेणार? आता when the load is eccentric with y axis, then in this case moment of inertia we have to calculate about neutral axis. आणि neutral axis कुठला आहे तर y. So here we calculate I. Now what is the formula for I for a rectangular section? The formula is dB cubed by 12. जसं स्क्वेअर असतं तर काय असतं d raised to 4/12. And suppose if it is a circular section, then I the formula is 5/64 d raised to the 4. आता y म्हणजे काय? Y means the distance from neutral axis to the extreme layer. So this is your y. मग या केस मध्ये तुमचा y काय आला असता बरं? That is b/2. हे खूप महत्त्वाची कन्सेप्ट आहे, नीट समजून घ्या. When the load is eccentric with y-axis, then in this case neutral axis is y-axis. So here we calculate moment of inertia about y-axis. So I. आता याच्या ऐवजी suppose I draw the figure like this. आता मी खाली काढते बघा ती figure. Now see here, this one is your x axis, this one is your y axis. This is the principal axis which passes to the center. Now here, suppose I draw the position of the load here or here. म्हणजे load is eccentric with x axis. म्हणजे बेंडिंग कुठं होणार आहे? बेंडिंग टेक्स प्लेस अबाउट x axis. सो इथं न्यूट्रल ऍक्सिस काय झालं तुमचा? x axis झाला. दिस इज नथिंग बट इथं काय झालं तुमचा न्यूट्रल ऍक्सिस काय झाला? x axis. सो हियर sigma bending is equal to m upon I into y. The formula remains same. M is nothing but p into e. That also remains same. But what about I? आता इथं काय झालंय पहा. इथं न्यूट्रल ऍक्सिस कुठला झाला? x axis. So we have to calculate moment of inertia about x axis. That is I neutral axis. And what is the formula for I axis? The formula is b d cube by 12. And what about y? Y म्हणजे which distance? Y is nothing but it is the distance from neutral axis to the extreme layer. So here neutral axis is x, and this is the extreme layer. So this is your y. And what is your y? It is nothing but d by 2. These are very important concepts. जेव्हा load eccentric with y axis असेल, then MI we calculate about y axis. आणि y काय झाला तुमचा neutral axis झाला. पण जर load तुमचा eccentric with x axis असेल, then moment of inertia we have to calculate about x axis. That is I axis. आता इथे काय कन्सिडर केला? वी आर कन्सिडरिंग दॅट द फोर्स द कॉम्प्रेसिव. लेट अस ड्रॉ द स्ट्रेस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन डायग्राम. फर्स्ट वी सी हाउ टू ड्रॉ द स्ट्रेस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन डायग्राम. Okay, so there are three cases. We see one by one. Let us draw the first. Okay, so this is your width, this one is your depth, this one is your principal axis, x and y. This one is your centroid. This is the position of loading, E. This distance is E. So here what we say, load is eccentric with y-axis. So here we consider that this one is your neutral axis. आता ह्या केस मध्ये see here, I use names now A, B, C and D. Now observe this portion B, C. This B point and C point, they are very near to the point of loading. Have you understood here? हे पहा, हा जो पॉइंट आहे B आणि C हा लोडच्या खूप जवळ आहे. These B and C points are very near to the point of loading. So maximum stresses are developed along B and C. And these A and D points are far away from the point of loading. So minimum stresses are developed at A and D. I repeat again. These B and C are very near to the point of loading. So B and C ला maximum stresses develop होते. आणि A and D, they are far away from the point of loading. So the minimum stresses are developed at A and D. And how to calculate the maximum and minimum stresses? We just have seen that sigma max is equal to sigma direct plus sigma bending. And sigma minimum is equal to sigma direct minus sigma bending. Now let us see the first case. Now the first case is sigma direct is greater than sigma bending. ही पहिली केस आहे. म्हणजेच काय? डायरेक्ट स्ट्रेस ही कशापेक्षा जास्त आहे? It is more than bending stress. So let us consider direct stress is 30 Newton per mm square and bending stress we consider as 20 Newton per mm square. म्हणजे काय म्हणते मी? Let us take example. Sigma direct is 30 Newton per mm square and sigma bending mm square. And how to calculate? कसं काढतो आपण? Simple. Sigma direct is equal to P by A. आणि सिग्मा बेंडिंग कसं काढतो? M upon I into Y. हा I कसा ठरवतो आपण? न्यूट्रल ऍक्सिस वरून. आणि Y किती? The distance from neutral axis to the extreme layer. मग आता इथं हा 30 आहे आणि हा 20. So what is sigma max? Sigma max किती येईल बघा. सिग्मा डायरेक्ट प्लस सिग्मा बेंडिंग म्हणजे 30 प्लस 20 किती आन्सर आलं 50. So sigma maximum नेचर कसं आलं तुमचं फुल्ली कॉम्प्रेसिव्ह. Why? Because the load acting is a compressive in nature. Now we calculate sigma minimum. How to calculate? Sigma direct minus sigma bending. Now sigma direct is 30 minus sigma bending is 20. So what is the answer? 10. And what is the nature? The nature is again fully compressive. So see here, man, आता आपल्याला diagram draw करायची आहे. So let us draw. Now take the extend this line. Now see here, take one baseline. Take one baseline. Let us take this baseline. Now here, compressive stresses we plot below the baseline, tensile stresses we plot above the baseline. आता दोन्ही stresses कशा आलेत आपल्या compressive. Why compressive? Because the load acting is a compressive. ह्याच्यावरती load act झाला तो कसा आहे compressive in nature. आता maximum stresses कुठे डेव्हलप होणार आहेत? Along B and C point. Why? Because they are near to the point of loading. म्हणजे या बाजूला maximum. आणि A आणि D ला काय? It is far away. So the minimum stresses are developed. So let us take this one is your sigma max 50. This one is sigma 20. This one is 50. This one is 10, not 20. Yeah? And how to the nature of the diagram? It is a trapezoidal engine. Okay, yeah, we understood this figure. Now next, आता ही झाली तुमची पहिली केस. Now let us take the next case. Sigma direct equal to sigma bending. समजा दोन्हीचे दोन्ही स्ट्रेस सेमच असतील. म्हणजे कसं? Suppose sigma direct is 30 and sigma minimum is also 30. मग कसं येईल बघा. I rub this or we keep as it is. Sigma max. How to calculate? Sigma direct plus sigma bending. So 30 plus 30. So what is the answer? 60. And now we calculate sigma minimum. See here. Sigma direct minus sigma bending. So 30 minus 30 equal to what? 0. Now the maximum stresses कुठे असणार आहे? B आणि C ला. का बरं? Because they are near to the point of loading. So let us draw the diagram. Next diagram. आता मी एकाच याच्यामध्ये diagram दाखवते तुम्हाला. Take one baseline. So maximum stresses along B and C. Sigma max that is 60 and sigma minimum 0. So the diagram is it is a triangular U shape. ही कशासाठी पहिल्या केस साठी sigma direct is greater than sigma bending. ही diagram second case साठी sigma direct equal to sigma bending. Now we consider the third case. हा आता ह्या दोन्ही केस समजतात का पहा. First case is direct stress is greater than bending stress. Now we calculate sigma max. How to calculate sigma max? Sigma direct plus sigma bending. Sigma minimum, sigma direct minus sigma bending. So here we consider just an example that sigma direct we consider 30, sigma bending we consider 20. Now we see the third case. आता आपण तिसरी केस बघूया कशी येते. Now I write here the third case. Now the third case is sigma direct is less than sigma bending. So here we consider sigma direct 20 and we consider sigma bending 30. So now we calculate sigma max. And the sigma max is sigma direct plus sigma bending. So 20 plus 30. The answer is 50. And what is the nature? Nature is fully compressive. Okay. Now we find sigma minimum. Now what is the formula? Sigma direct minus sigma bending. So sigma direct minus sigma bending is 20 minus 30. So the answer is minus 10. Now what is minus sign indicate that? Now the nature changes. Now the nature is partly tensile. When the sign convention sign get changed, then the nature also get changed. Now the nature is a partly tensile. Now how to draw the diagram? And the diagram कशी येईल? We take one baseline. reaction sigma max, and the value is 50. What are the sigma minimum final? That means the lecture is part B tensile. So tensile value we plot above the baseline. So here we plot sigma minimum. Now how to join this? The diagram is for third case. So these are the three cases. These are the three cases. First case, nature of the diagram is like this. The second case, sigma direct, sigma bending both are same. And the third case is sigma direct is less than sigma bending. Okay, now this diagram, now this is for compression member because the compressive force is active. And here I show the position of the loading is around on the right hand side, or we can say it is eccentric with y axis. पण समजा असं नसेल, समजा जर लोड इकडे ऍक्ट होत असेल, y axis वर होत असेल, then how to draw the diagram? That we see in our next lecture. Okay. So in next lecture we see the next part. That is the tensile force is acting under part. How to draw the stress distribution diagram. That all we see in the next lecture. Okay. Thank you.